All right, so I went to look up this Hope Summers, right? And it's very interesting because at first I thought it was the daughter or something uh of Scott Summers and Jean Grey because she has like the Phoenix Force and stuff like that, right? So, you know, I thought that was Rachel Summers, but it turns out that Hope Summers actually is far into the future. I mean, Rachel Summer is her aunt. And, in my generation, right, Rachel Summer's already like the kid, right? So basically, this is like far off into the distance, right? The Hope Summer. And she is not even related to Jean Grey. And, at that time, right, because they were adopted or she was adopted by Scott Summers. And they weren't the actual fathers. They were called the grandfathers, and Jean Grey was the grandmother. Now, how she has all these powers, I haven't figured out yet. But I mean, it's way off into the future. And her parents, right? Actually, her adopted father is Nathan Summers. And the mother, the biological father is unknown. Now the mother, right, is dead, right? The original one, and nobody knows who. Well, she is Louise Spading or Splatting or something. I don't know. That's the biological mother. So this is as time goes on, this thing gets so confusing that I'm sitting here thinking, wow, the timeline it just got way more confusing. Back in the day, it was just like this is this right now. It's like you got your step parents, your adopted parents, and all these other crazy things. So that's why her name is called Summers, Hope Summers, and she was born after M Day, I believe, the first mutant born after M Day. And she was here's a funnier thing, she was also adopted by Cable. I'm guessing the original adopted parents, right? Nathan Summers, and the Scott Summers and Jean Grey, they all died. I'm assuming that's what happened. And then and then Cable took it upon himself to adopt her. So she has a lot of adopted parents, right? She's like a rebel kind of situation. And the most confusing character that I've seen so far. And obviously, she has powers that are way beyond what I expect. All right, I'm just looking for her special powers. That's what I want to know because it seems like she has everything. It looks like she's a fusion of Jean Grey. I mean, what do you call it? Rogue. Yeah, I thought that Rogue and Cyclops got together and made her, but she has so much stuff that, and I guess it's like far off in the future that it's really extremely hard to figure out. That's why they can't in the description, right? They didn't say that much. They just said that she is the first mutant born after M Day, her adopted stepfather, Cable, and why I don't even know why they called it stepfather instead of adopted father. And then she's become the host of the full Phoenix Force. I don't know what happened. Maybe Jean Grey died and then they gave her the Phoenix Force, if that even is possible. And she has the power to mimic the abilities of all mutants, thanks to Cable's training. Okay, and she's also good with firearms. So she's like the ultimate being 200 years into the future where we're all dead already, right? So that's I'm looking at this, I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that. I just saw the Summers name and then she looked like Rogue. I automatically thought that she was the offspring of Rogue and Scott Summers, Cyclops. But it turns out I was completely wrong, and I'm glad I went to look it up and clarify it. So, all the Phoenix stuff that reminded me of Jean Grey, but in honesty, I don't think many people cares about what happens in 200 years into the future, right? That's why the story kind of became twisted, sort of, especially with the new Marvel movies. I didn't even watch Shang-Chi yet. I mean, I'm just like, nope. I mean, after the end game, I was just like, nope, not watching that. Don't feel like watching those stuff. And, now that they're talking about 200 years into the future, I don't even know what's happening there. So, anyways, that's Hope Summer to clarify everything. And, at first I thought she was like Rachel Summers' sister, but no, she's actually far off into the future. And, Rachel Summers, her aunt, Cyclops and Jean Grey are like her grandparents, and they're probably dead already. And, you know, and Scott and what do you call it? Scott and Jean Grey's child probably died too. I don't know because there was this Nathan Summers. All right, very confusing character, but you know, after reading everything, she is like extremely, extremely, extremely powerful.